Deep in the northern forests lurks the Wendigo, a chilling ancient spirit. Myth or reality? Find out now. Hello, dear viewers. Wishing you all an amazing day filled with positivity and energy. If you enjoy my content and want to see more of it, please support the channel by subscribing and giving a like. Your support means the world and motivates me to create even more awesome videos. Wendigo, the spirit of hunger and frost. The Wendigo, also known as Wendigo, Weendigo, Witiko, or Micmac, is a mythological creature whose name sends shivers down the spines of those familiar with the legends of the Algonquian peoples of North America. In the Cree language, Wendigo translates to the evil that devours or all-consuming evil. This name encapsulates its essence, a cannibalistic spirit, the embodiment of insatiable hunger and winter's chill. Variations of the name appear across different tribes, Ojibwe, Cree, Naskapi, Innu, and others, but all describe a terrifying being that was once human but transformed into a monster under the influence of dark forces. The Wendigo holds a central place in the mythology of the Algonquian peoples, who inhabit modern-day Canada and the northern United States. Legends about it trace back to ancient times when harsh winters and food scarcity forced people to confront extreme survival measures, including cannibalism. The Wendigo was a symbol of this forbidden act, a warning against violating taboos. In Ojibwe and Cree folklore, it is depicted as a spirit that lurks in the forests, especially in winter, either devouring people or possessing them, driving them to cannibalism. One legend tells of a brave warrior who, to save his tribe from enemies, sold his soul to forest spirits. After victory, he retreated into the wilderness, where his heart froze, turning him into a Wendigo. Another version claims that shamans dabbling in dark magic could become Wendigos if their actions crossed moral boundaries. In some tales, the Wendigo is not just a monster, but a metaphysical embodiment of winter hunger, capable of driving people mad and forcing them to consume one another. The myth is also tied to the so-called Wendigo psychosis, a culturally bound disorder recorded among Algonquian tribes. Those afflicted experienced an overwhelming urge to eat human flesh and feared transforming into the monster. Such possessed individuals were often killed by their tribes to prevent disaster. Some researchers, however, argue this condition was a justification for killings during times of famine. Wendigo stories were passed down through generations, especially during long winter nights when tribes gathered around fires. These tales served not only as entertainment, but as moral lessons, cautioning against greed, selfishness, and cannibalism. Even today, Indigenous communities in northern Canada associate missing persons in the forests with the Wendigo's actions. The Wendigo is a creature whose appearance inspires both terror and revulsion. Its body, once human, has undergone horrific changes, becoming a manifestation of hunger and cold. The Wendigo is tall, ranging from 8 to 13 feet and offensively, with some legends claiming it stands as high as 15 feet. Its frame is emaciated, almost skeletal, with long, bony limbs that seem unnaturally elongated. The Wendigo's skin is ashen gray, dry and taut over its bones like parchment, sometimes described as translucent, revealing dark frozen veins and an icy heart beating in its chest. Its face is a mask of nightmare. A lipless, bleeding mouth exposes sharp, yellowed fangs, resembling those of a beast. Its eyes, deeply sunken, glow with an eerie white or reddish light, like those of an owl or a predator stalking prey in the dark. In some tales, the Wendigo lacks a nose, ear tips, or fingers, frostbitten from eternal exposure to cold. Its head may be bald with sparse, matted hair or covered in long, tangled fur resembling a wild animal's. Some variations describe it as covered in white, matted fur, especially in northern regions where it's confused with a yeti. In other legends, long, curling antlers, like those of a deer, sprout from its head, adding to its demonic appearance. Its claws are long and razor-sharp, capable of tearing flesh with a single swipe. The Wendigo moves with terrifying speed despite its gaunt frame, its steps accompanied by the crunch of ice or the rustle of dead leaves. It emits a putrid stench of decay mixed with a chill that pierces to the bone. The Wendigo is not merely a physical being, its body seems an embodiment of winter itself. Some legends claim it is made of ice, with frosty vapor trailing its movements. Its breath is as cold as an Arctic gust, and its touch can freeze skin. This form makes the Wendigo not just a monster, but a symbol of nature's merciless cruelty, sparing no weakness. The Wendigo dwells in the darkest, harshest corners of North America, where winter reigns supreme and forests guard their sinister secrets. Its home is the vast coniferous forests of Canada, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan, where pines and firs stand so dense that sunlight barely pierces their branches. These woods are cloaked in eternal twilight, the air thick with the scent of resin and dampness. In winter, a silence descends, broken only by the howl of the wind and the crunch of snow under a lone traveler's feet. It is in this silence that the Wendigo stalks its prey, blending with the shadows of the trees. Its lairs are places no human dares tread, deep caves buried under snow, abandoned mines where the echo of footsteps sounds like a death knell, or pits dug into the earth littered with the bones of its victims. The Wendigo hides its trophies, pieces of human flesh, on tree branches or in caches beneath roots, like a spider preparing for a long winter. Sometimes it keeps captives alive in its dens, preserving them as reserves for times of scarcity. These places radiate an aura of dread. Animals avoid them, and birds fall silent, as if fearing to draw the monster's attention. In some legends, the Wendigo dwells near frozen lakes or rivers, where the ice cracks under its steps. It is said to set ambushes during blizzards when visibility drops to zero and snow whirlwinds conceal its silhouette. The snow-covered prairies of the north are also its hunting grounds, where it stalks travelers whose campfires flicker out under the assault of icy winds. Every rustle, every snapping twig in these places could herald the Wendigo's approach, its presence felt as a sudden chill that cuts to the core. The Wendigo is the epitome of cruelty and insatiability. Its character is devoid of human traits. It knows no pity, guilt, or compassion. The only force driving it is an eternal, unquenchable hunger that can never be sated. The Wendigo hunts exclusively humans, as only human flesh can briefly dull its torment. Yet even after feeding, it finds no satisfaction and immediately seeks new prey. The Wendigo is a master hunter, with keen hearing and night vision, making it a perfect predator in the dark forests. Its favorite tactic is mimicking human voices, especially those of loved ones, to lure victims into a trap. A solitary traveler might hear a cry for help or a familiar voice calling from the woods, only to find the Wendigo's shadow poised to strike. It also uses whistles or whispers that blend with the wind to sow panic. The Wendigo revels in its victim's fear. It rarely attacks immediately, preferring to stalk its prey for hours, letting terror and cold exhaust them. Its steps are swift and silent, and its fleeting silhouette in the shadows makes victims question their sanity. The Wendigo is immensely strong and fast, capable of tearing a person apart with a single claw swipe. Its wounds heal almost instantly, rendering it nearly invulnerable. Some legends claim it can infect a person with its madness through a touch or glance, turning them into a cannibal. Before winter, the Wendigo grows especially active, stockpiling reserves in the form of bodies or living captives, which it hides in its lairs. It shuns fire and, according to folklore, is vulnerable to silver weapons, though killing it is extraordinarily difficult. Even after death, its body must be burned or submerged in deep water to prevent the spirit's return. The origin of the Wendigo myth can be explained through several hypotheses, each reflecting the cultural, psychological, and social aspects of Algonquian life. The cultural hypothesis posits the Wendigo as a warning against cannibalism. In harsh winters with scarce food, cannibalism was a desperate survival measure, but strictly condemned. The Wendigo myth likely emerged to reinforce this taboo, showing that such an act led to the loss of humanity and transformation into a monster. The stories emphasize that even in dire circumstances, death was preferable to moral transgression. The psychological hypothesis ties to the Wendigo psychosis, a possible mental disorder linked to starvation and isolation. Those afflicted might have exhibited symptoms interpreted as possession by the spirit. This condition could have been amplified by cultural expectations, where someone who committed cannibalism began to believe they were turning into a monster. Some scholars, however, question the disorder's reality, suggesting it was a mythological justification for social sanctions. The magical hypothesis suggests the Wendigo as a result of a curse or a shaman's excessive dabbling in dark magic. This reflects the Algonquian belief in a spiritual world where disrupting the balance between humans and nature could lead to dire consequences. A curse might have been cast by a medicine man or forest spirits, underscoring the importance of respecting supernatural forces. The ecological hypothesis views the Wendigo as a personification of the harsh northern environment, winter's cold, hunger, and isolation. Its icy heart and connection to frost symbolize the mercilessness of winter that claimed many lives. The Wendigo's image may have arisen to explain inexplicable disappearances in the forests, attributing them to a supernatural entity. The anthropological hypothesis sees the Wendigo as a warrior who sacrificed himself for his tribe, but paid for it with his humanity. This highlights the conflict between individual heroism and collective good, showing that even noble intentions can lead to tragedy. These hypotheses complement each other, crafting a complex image of the Wendigo as a symbol of human fears, moral dilemmas, and the struggle against nature. Though the Wendigo remains a mythological creature, history records accounts that indigenous communities and some researchers linked to its actions. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, residents of Roseau County, Minnesota, reported strange figures flickering in the forests, followed by sudden deaths in the community. These incidents were interpreted as omens tied to the Wendigo. In 1661, Jesuit missionaries working among Algonquian tribes along the Ottawa River documented tales of a demonic creature that attacked people and caused madness. They noted that previous missionaries had vanished under mysterious circumstances, with locals blaming the Wendigo. Though colored by religious context, these records affirm a deep belief in the monster's existence. In the early 20th century, Canada saw court cases involving murders where defendants claimed they acted under the Wendigo's influence. For instance, in 1907, an Indigenous man named Jack Fiddler was charged with killing a woman he believed was possessed by the Wendigo. Such cases illustrate how the myth shaped real actions. Modern accounts are rare, but online forums feature stories from hunters and tourists claiming to have seen a tall, gaunt figure in the forests of Canada or the northern US. Some describe eerie sounds, whistles, whispers, or screams accompanied by an inexplicable sense of dread. Cryptozoologists sometimes link these tales to the Wendigo, though they're often attributed to Bigfoot or other creatures. The Wendigo has firmly entered popular culture, becoming a staple in literature, film, television, and video games. Its first notable appearance in Western literature was in Algernon Blackwood's novella The Wendigo, 1910, where it is portrayed as a mystical spirit luring people into the woods. Stephen King's Pet Sematary, 1983, alludes to the Wendigo as a force reviving the dead on an indigenous burial ground. In cinema, the Wendigo appears in Ravenous, 1999, one of the closest depictions to Algonquian folklore. Films like Antlers, 2021, and The Last Winter, 2006, also feature the Wendigo, often with creative liberties. In the TV series Supernatural, 2005, Season 1, Episode 2, the Wendigo is shown as a cannibal vulnerable to fire and silver. In Hannibal, the Wendigo serves as a metaphor for Hannibal Lecter's cannibalism. In video games, the Wendigo appears in various forms. In Diablo 2, it resembles a yeti tied to cold but strays from folklore. In Hexen, the Wendigo is an icy monster firing frost projectiles. A closer depiction is found in Until Dawn, 2015, where the Wendigo is a central antagonist embodying cannibalism and curses. Other games like Shadowrun, Deadlands, and Final Fantasy VIII include the Wendigo, often diverging from the original myth. In media, the Wendigo occasionally surfaces in cryptozoology or urban legend discussions. Articles on sites like universetime.ru explore alleged Wendigo encounters, though they lack substantiation. On platforms like X, users share stories and interpretations, linking the Wendigo to cannibalism, dark magic, or pop culture. The Wendigo remains one of the most terrifying and multifaceted mythological creatures. It is not merely a monster, but a symbol of human fears, moral boundaries, and the battle against nature. Its image continues to evolve, finding resonance in modern stories, yet its roots lie in ancient legends that still make people glance over their shoulders in dark forests.